welcome everyone to Satoshi Chat's episode 17. My name is Jack,
And my name is Casey.
and little BTC price is $56,000 as of right now.
It
Um,
it's high, but it doesn't feel high, right?
yeah, it's we haven't quite hit all-time high. We're not at all-time highs as of right now. Um, but we're pretty much there. And I could only see us going up from here. So not investment advice, but personal opinion. Now, uh, today's a very interesting day of the year.
at least
Um,
at least in comparison to like last
Last
year.
year, right? Exactly as comparison to last year. So, as many of you probably already know, but for those unaware, um, the big the when coronavirus happened, the big when Bitcoin crashed, almost I forgot how much percentage, but I believe it crashed all the way down to $3,500.
Yeah, it's a pretty big
Um,
crash.
it pretty much happened overnight, and I remember it quite vividly. And that was on March 12th, 2020, and now it is March 12th, 2021,
Hmm.
and the Bitcoin price is definitely no longer $3,500.
No, I think
Um,
it's a bit higher.
it's a little bit higher, but yeah, I vividly remember waking up, and I remember waking up, and sometimes I check the price, sometimes I don't, but that day I just happened to have checked the price right when I woke up,
Uh huh.
and I was just I was blown away. But you
Right.
know, it took a I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think everyone was a little scared, but you know, I took a second. I went to work.
Did you
It,
stack Sats that day, sir? That's my question.
yes. As a matter of fact, I did. I just sent Casey. I've been seeing it's been a trend on Twitter today to like post your purchases from March 12th, 2020, and I charged my old phone because that has my old Cash App account on it, and I kept scrolling down through the transactions, and I remembered for sure I bought like $100 US dollars worth,
Yeah.
but I went and checked and I bought $200 and then two $100, and
That's a pretty good
and
stack, though. Looking at the
yeah,
amounts and stuff, it's a pretty good stack. And
and
yeah.
it took me a little bit to collect myself, but at the end of the day, I stacked Sats that day, and that's what a true Bitcoiner does, you know?
In the face of danger, stack Sats.
Yes, and I think this is it's quite interesting because like you everyone, you know, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's just like when there's fear in the market, it's almost like the best opportunity to buy.
Yeah, and I it's it's hilarious because the fear on the market coincides with like the dips, right? And like I guess like the acting upon those dips is like actually difficult when put into practice, right? And then like when it gets high, like right now, um, I think that's not necessarily like obviously you don't want to sell, but it's like time to dollar cost average and just hodl, and
Yeah, you're still buying, you're just buying a little bit less. Less aggressively, I guess you should say.
right, and you're just reserving that explosion for the next one, but you're always pressing hard and you're always just stacking sats hard, you know.
Yeah, and I thought today would be an interesting day to record a little episode because it's just like it's a very special day, and it just it goes to show. And also around that time, just a little bit after, I believe it was May,
Mm-hmm.
we had a difficulty adjustment. So that definitely had a role in
Yes.
the price discovery. It soon followed, but
Price
um,
discovery soon followed.
yeah.
So
So it's
so
really
talk about like what you think is different about yourself only like as a Bitcoiner. Like what's different about yourself over the past year? What's changed?
um like in what in what con- um
Like do you feel more convicted now? Do you feel more knowledgeable now? Like
I I definitely feel more safe. You know, back back then it was I mean back then it was only a year ago, but
yeah, a year
like
ago.
it only like I've only been like truly comfortable with like only holding Bitcoin. Like I've held Bitcoin for a little bit, but I've only truly felt extremely extremely comfortable
Mm-hmm.
as of recently,
Right.
just because of the um like just because of everything, the institutions and institutional investors, the whole community, the difficulty adjustment, the just everything points bullish in my eyes. Maybe not to mainstream media. You kind of wipe that out, but
No, yeah, I get it though. Like the increasingly bullish signs in your life, I get it.
yeah,
And and that's just like a result of the price going up, right? Like almost all of these
right,
signs. Um,
yeah. It's almost like the price doesn't really matter. It's just the events that have unfolded from that point to now. And also it's um what also has made me a lot more comfortable with holding Bitcoin as my ultimate primary store of value
mm-hmm.
is actually just the whole pandemic in general. It really has showed the flaws. It's exclamated the flaws in our
System.
monetary system.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Exactly.
and it's just it makes me even more confident in the in that fact.
Yeah, and in the alternative monetary network that you use, you know, and
Right.
so I think it's just and it's proving itself like literally in real time. You know, it's proving that it's resistant to pandemics, for example. Like
Exactly.
yeah, and yeah, just being able to witness over a longer period of time, like ever extending period of time, right? Like it's the proof is only going to get stronger, you know,
Right.
and so especially right now, like we're watching right now, as we hit all time high of like 58, you know, and dips back down to 43, and with no hesitation, just right back up to 56, and
Right.
it's just so it like I think no one's really even like comprehending the numbers that are flowing right now, because to get from 43 back to 56, that was like trillions of or not trillion, billions of dollars though, you know,
Right. It's like
like
100 billion
yeah,
or something like that.
yeah, that's like $100 billion of volume that just got injected into the system that quick. Like
That quickly.
there's big buyers out here now. Like we're not just talking like little puny purchases, you know. So
Yeah.
um, I think everyone's gonna be like stunned as we cross the new all time high barrier and we just like hit levels unseen, you know.
Right. It's gonna be yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see. Back I remember something else I should add is like
Mm-hmm.
a year ago today, I definitely um held more dollars in savings, like
Yeah,
um
your
definitely more
dollar
than I
to
have.
Bitcoin ratio holdings.
Right, like just, in my normal savings account, like I definitely was, every paycheck I was, throwing a little bit into actual just savings. But now it's completely different. You know, I I I see that now as just better in Bitcoin. I use that as my savings. So
Right.
it's just a little. It's not too much of a shift, but it's a little bit of a shift that
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I can talk about my own experience, since I wasn't really even an owner of Bitcoin a year ago at this time, uh, I experienced the exact same thing, except like, multiplied. Like, I owned nothing really, like, relative to what I own now and in what I think of what is value, right? Um, so I might have had like a car, not a bad car or not a nice car, but like a car. And I had like nice clothes and all that, and a bike and stuff. But um, what I didn't have was like an actual long term store of value, right? And I was actually like looking for long term stores of value. I was thinking about starting like a 401k. That's what everyone tells you to start, right? And doing like investment accounts and all this other stuff. And Bitcoin has just made it so easy to like charge up my monetary battery, right? Like it's just made it
right,
so simple, so direct. Like there's no like thoughts of, oh, is this stock gonna crash? Am I gonna give my money to the wrong advisor? Is the firm that I give my money to gonna blow over? Like there's so much to worry about. Where with Bitcoin, it's like nothing matters because it doesn't rely on any one thing itself. The exchange I use, I don't keep it on there. The fiat on ramps that I have, I don't need them necessarily. There's just it's so easy to acquire and so many different places and avenues to acquire it. It's actually crazy how accessible it is, and so basically it's a different like level of like savings, right? Like a different level of being able to save savings technology,
right.
I guess.
Um, I I was scrolling through Twitter today, I believe, and I saw something that caught my eye, and what you just said kind of reminded me of it. I don't remember the direct quote or who said it, but they pretty much said something about diversification and how, if you think about it, diversification, like if you have a portfolio of like your savings portfolio or your stock portfolio,
Right.
whatever you have, and you have a diverse portfolio, that's literally because in case one is a bad investment. So you're automatically um like doing it's hard to explain, but you're automatically like doing the wrong thing. If you have a diverse portfolio, you're pretty much saying I don't have a good store of value, so I need to diversify
Yeah.
in order for things to become stable.
Yeah, it's like a sign of the times, right? Like when diversification is necessary. Like you know, in the old days, and I mean the old days, like when gold coins were a store of value, right? They didn't think like, oh, I should have gold coins, and then I should also have this and that. Like, I should also have this and that. Like, they had
Right.
utilitarian purposes. Obviously, there were like landlords and stuff for so people could make an income that way and stuff. But the actual like store of value, like they knew gold was the best thing. That was like what nations used to store their value. They weren't nations weren't
Yeah.
using land to store their value. I mean, they were land. They were made up of land, but their actual like money was gold. And so I think like yeah, like you're saying, diversification is just
It's
trying.
weakness.
It's weakening. It's what's the word when you it's dilution. It's diluting the
Yeah.
purity of Bitcoin if you try to diversify against it.
Yeah, you shouldn't need a diverse portfolio when you just have Bitcoin. Like it's not necessary.
It's not necessary. There's no there's no need to really like mess with the savings technology. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess some people talk about what do you think about like yield, like where you could lock Bitcoin up and you earn yield or like whatever. Like I don't know. I just to me it's just
It's
kind of unnecessary, I
I
guess, if Bitcoin just
yeah.
always appreciates in value.
I definitely think it's interesting, and I have maybe if I had an extreme amount of Bitcoin, let's say I had 100 Bitcoin, I might throw like 5 Bitcoin into like a nice yield
Yeah.
thing. But at the same time, I don't really see the point because I'm not too sure how that works. I think they use BlockFi or something like that.
Yeah, most
But
likely.
something I don't know what they use, but I just don't really see the point, and I'm not too sure because I feel like you lose access to your private keys if
Yeah, and
if
that's not
I'm
cool.
not yeah, which I'm not really cool with because an average percent of 20%, like Bitcoin is like average 20% a year or something like that, and to get an extra 6% to have that risk, I just don't see it's really worth it in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's just like, um, yeah, I guess to sum it up, it's just not worth the risk, right?
Right.
So yeah, uh, and I think like when people, like at least for me, when I saw the results of putting energy into my savings battery, my monetary battery, um, it like was incentive enough to like put more in, right? Like the reason adoption is going to get driven so fast is because you get paid to do it, literally.
Yeah.
And like if you think the internet was adopted quick, like I would say like 10 to 20%, maybe even less. I actually don't know, I'm totally talking out of my butt, but a certain percentage of users on the internet extract value out of it, right? Like take money from it, or have some sort of business that gives them money from it. And the rest like don't, right? And that in and of itself, that small percentage that does take value of it, that drove a lot of like the adoption of the internet, right? Was the commerce and the economic usage of it, right? Well, imagine a technology like Bitcoin where 100% of the users gain from it economically. How fast do you think that will, you know, go around, spread, and be taken up as a network effect, right? Like
Yeah.
when 100% of the users are economically incentivized to use it, it will be adopted so much quicker than the internet, in which, only a certain amount are actually economically incentivized to use it. I mean, everyone technically is, but not to the extent that Bitcoin,
Yeah.
incentivizes you.
People will use Bitcoin whether they like it or not.
Right. It's a non consensual thing.
Yeah. It's a
It really isn't. You don't get a choice, and it will siphon the value out of your store of value, no matter what you choose to do to it. So it's a when you want to buy, not if you want to buy, kind of thing.
right. Yeah, it's a very very interesting. Um, is there anything else that's going on?
Uh, let's. I just wanted to mention Bitcoin Conference 2021 in freaking June. I got an internship at Bitcoin Magazine. Super stoked
Yes,
on that. So I'll be there working, but we will definitely be having good times also.
we will be
And
there.
yeah, Jack will be there too. So we're definitely going to be hanging out, and definitely happy to see anyone there. So if you,
Maybe a little teaser for the next episode.
ooh, ooh, do you have a specific thing in mind?
Um, I, a special guest.
Hmm, that's right. Yes. So uh, my I guess my new boss, Christian from Bitcoin Magazine, will be coming on next episode, and we're probably going to be asking questions about what it's like working for the magazine, what his Bitcoin journey has been like, maybe some
Yeah.
opinions on general topics. Who knows? So yeah, if anyone has any thoughts on that, any questions to ask, any ideas for content, just let us know.
Yeah, let us know. It'll definitely be an interesting conversation. I'm pretty excited to talk to him.
Yeah, it's like our first guest, first of all, and also a prominent and smart member of the Bitcoin community. So super excited.
Yeah.
Uh,
If uh, as our first guest, he's quite uh how do you say, it's quite a special guest for the first guest
I know
on
he's overqualified, I guess is what you would say.
overqualified.
Yeah, it feels like we're having a yeah, yeah. So it'll be fun. It'll be great. Excited, excited to have him on
Overqualified for
plebe podcast like this.
for a plebe podcast with like 20 followers on Twitter. So
Yeah, but it's good. It's good. Get down with the community, right?
yeah.
So, yeah, just comment, like, and subscribe if you want to hear more. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a good one. Peace out.
Later.
What was the time on that?